Hi, in this tutorial I'm going to keep on exploring and show you how to use Insight Maker in order to capture models that depict different connections and flows in organizations and how you can leverage them in order to resolve problems and then to run simulation to see visually whether the suggested resolution actually has an impact on the reality or will have an impact on the reality based on the model that we created. So in order to create a context, I'm going to go back a little bit to causal diagrams. Everything that we're going to discuss today is related to a common problem in organization, which is related to the purchasing department. So in order to do that, there is a way inside Insight Maker to embed another model so you can see both of them. And in order to do that, you should do Control and then right click. And then you can insert Insight Maker model. You have to know the URL. And then if you do that, you'll see this puzzle part. And if you open the puzzle part, here you see a diagram from another model. So this is how we started it. This was the classical like purchasing problem where contracts from vendors are, so both marketing and IT need more contracts with vendor. They upload their contract into or request purchasing to do the work for them. Purchasing, due to the company policy, needs to engage HR and legal in order to review the contracts and sometimes even negotiate as a result of the review with the vendor. And since HR and legal has other work to do, there's usually queues in HR and queue in legal that simply result in a lot of contract piling in on SS&P due to the amount of work that legal and HR need to do. And obviously the result is a very negative SS&P Net Promoter Score or perception. And you can go back into the first video that I done. I don't want to take all the time discussing that. You can follow the links from this post all the way down to the first post when we discuss the causal diagram, but this is the first element that we've done. From this, we created a very primitive flow diagram that has the main element and flow between them. And then we spend more time to take this basic one and actually to convert it into a flow diagram that we can run a simulation. And then we ran a simulation and the simulation, so can't do that. I showed the simulation in a different way, but then we ran the simulation and we saw how the system behaved. And today I want to take this model and simply show you how I am adding a solution to the model and see how the solution impacts. So the first thing I can do is simply run the model without the solution. I'll explain in a second. And what you're going to see is the efficiency of SS&P simply starting pretty high and then falling into a very low percentage. Now, the solution is pretty simple. The solution is just a change in policy. And the change in policy says that instead of asking just SS&P, HR, and legal to review contract, there are some contract, all the contract actually can be reviewed by marketing and IT people that are dealing with purchasing. And those people who are dealing with purchasing can validate contract, and if they based on predefined education and predefined materials provided by HR and legal. And if contracts are simply aligned with those restrictions, they can move forward and SSMP can process them, and we have much more efficient flow here without enforcing all the contract to be reviewed here. But eventually, this is a company policy, so you need to change the policy to be more less risk averse, to take more risk by enabling people in marketing and IT to review contract based on certain criteria and to trust them that they will do this work and they will raise the flag if it's needed. So nothing is perfect in life. But if you're doing that in the flow diagram, what you're actually going to do is enable marketing to do internal work here and prevent from certain percentage of the contract to flow into SSMP and then to be in this negative reinforcing loop that just doesn't help anyone. And the way that we depict it in the model, we simply added another variable that's called pre-scan risk by marketing. And right now it's on 0, which means that there's no change from the previous model. Nothing is being processed by pre-scan by marketing, so all the contact that marketing gets from vendor are moving to SSMP, then they are being sent to HR and legal. There is kind of a delay here, or kind of a queue popping up, and the queue caused eventually a difference between the total number of contracts that are available to use than the total number of contracts that were actually ready to be used. And this different one, we are dividing it, get us some understanding of efficiency. And again, now it's with 0, and if I run it, I need to take away other parameters that are not going to help us. But if I'm running it, and yeah, okay, you can see this is the efficiency and this is the average efficiency. You can see that we are starting with 60 and we are gradually going downward into 22%. And I'm going to keep it here just so that we can see the difference. Now, what I'm going to do is to take an assumption that 40% of the contract can actually be processed by SSMP, and they don't need to go through this queue, so through this process. And based on this assumption, I can change to 0.6 or 0.2, whatever I want. I can run the model again. And to compare orange with orange, let me dim all the data that is irrelevant to this model, and you can see the difference. So once we take 40% of the contract and enable SSMP to trust SSMP to process them, and if there is any issue to raise a flag, you can see how we are starting with the same low percentage, but over time we are kind of stable around the 90 percentage, all the way, even slightly going up. Interesting to see if we run it for more periods, if we see something different. We'll try it in a second, but you can see very easily the difference between the model that runs when we don't have. You can see how it's going down all the way to the 20, 35 average wise. And if we take the efficiency, you see that we are around 98, and here we are just going down the hill to 23%. So it's a huge difference on the efficiency of one group just by changing a little bit a policy and enabling one group in the organization to review contract, trust that they will do the right work. Now, just for see how the tool, just to understand how the tool is working, we can go to settings, and we can say instead of 100 period, we can do 150. And just interesting to see whenever we are going to see different behaviors. So I'll keep just the positive one here. Sorry. And I'm going to rerun the model. Let me dimmed. First of all, it needs to run. Oh no, go away. So let it finish. Otherwise, I can't do too much. Okay, so close, close, close. Actually, I want this efficiency, close, and close. So here the peak was, yeah, so it's still fluctuating, as you can see. So here we picked in 92, and here it's fluctuating, it's going down, then going up, still much more higher than this guy. If we want to compare apples to apples, I need to rerun this model on 150 times, but instead of 0.4, I need to run it with 0. So that will be still purchasing, or SSMP needs to process all of the data. By the way, the purple and the yellow is a verbal contract and total contract that, and you can see how the gap just keep on growing over time. So yeah. So if you remember, the minimum was 22 or 23. Now we are down to 20. So actually the gap, bottom line, as you're running it for more time frames, the gap is actually increasing between the inefficiency of the current situation and more efficient situation where you are willing to take a little bit of a risk. So that's all. Hope that it was beneficial. Very good tool, InsightMinder. This is an example of a very simple model. Again, you can go backwards into the links and understand in details how we created it and how we ran it. I just wanted to show this time how you can run two models side by side and show how the current situation look like in graphs and how future situation might look like if you introduce a change. That's all. Thank you and bye.